You know, today, folks, it would have been so much better. Today would have been so much better. It would have been so much better to get up this morning knowing that the Dallas Cowboys lost to the Seattle Seahawks last night. But that didn't happen. The Dallas Cowboys managed to, although they were in control of the game early, they were able to pull out the win in the fourth quarter last night over the Seattle Seahawks. And that was troublesome. I didn't like that. I liked it when the Seahawks were scoring touchdowns. And I'm watching that game, and there was a very special moment. And I'll get to that in a second. But I'm watching that game last night, and I am seeing DaRon Bland absolutely just get torched by DK Metcalf. And I'm thinking, oh, this is DaRon Bland coming back down to earth. And then later in the game, he, of course, gets the interception. Seahawks aren't able to do anything with it. The refs made the Seahawks score, I think, 3 different touchdowns late in the second quarter, late in the first half there, including that touchdown pass that was ruled not a touchdown pass, but they still gave him a pass interference. I thought he caught the ball. I thought the Seahawks caught the ball on that play. I know you can't use the ground to secure it, but I think once you have the ball and you have it in your arm, tucked into your body, and then it hits the ground, I feel like that should be a catch. Now, nonetheless, the Seahawks were still able to score a touchdown on that possession. But I thought it was a touchdown. Anyway, I love that today, the talk, and it's the first thing I see when I wake up this morning, and I knew this was going to happen. I wake up this morning, and I see Dak. ESPN, I think, put it out on Instagram. Dak and Patrick Mahomes side by side. Like, these were the 2 greatest quarterbacks in the NFL, and how great is Dak Prescott? And don't get me wrong, Dak Prescott is a very good quarterback, and I actually go back to the draft. The year the Eagles took Carson Wentz, I was like, I'm not ready to take a quarterback. Get the offensive line established. Don't take a quarterback. And then the Eagles, of course, ended up trading up for that Carson Wentz fella. And I was like, maybe take a flyer later rounds, 3rd, 4th round of this Dak Prescott guy out of Mississippi State. I give him a shot. See what he can do. I swear that was my line of thinking, even at that. I even went so far as to look at like the 6th and 7th round at a guy like Brandon Allen. Be like, hey, what this guy can do? And he's been like a career 3rd stringer. But anyway, I respect Dak Prescott. I don't like the attention that he'll get from being the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, and that's what he's getting right now. And yes, he is playing at a very high level. But I feel like if the roles were reversed, it would be, oh, wow, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, lucky again to be able to pull out a game late. I feel like that would be the comparison more so than Dak Prescott and Patrick Mahomes being put on the same side-by-side by an ESPN graphic. And I'm just like, that for I don't know why. Maybe I'm just sensitive. That just bothers the hell out of me. Because I know what the conversation would be if the Eagles were in that same situation. It'd be like, oh, they're pulling out late. You know, the point differential isn't as good. Did you see the stat, by the way, that in games where the Seahawks, under Pete Carroll, in games where the Seahawks scored 35 points, and they scored 35 last night. In games where the Seahawks scored 35 points under Pete Carroll, going into last night's game, they were 35-0. And then they lose last night's game to the Dallas Cowboys. It is worrisome. Now, as for the special moment, by the way, of course, we got an Eagles 49ers preview that we're going to get to today. We got the Celtics and the Sixers taking on one another tonight in Boston at 7:30. Joel Embiid is questionable right now with that illness. Not really sure whether or not he's going to play. I'm going to go ahead and say he's going to play. I'm going to go ahead and say he's going to play because I don't believe in that. I don't believe the illness is real. I'll just put it like that. So we'll get into that as well. And the Flyers, the Flyers lost a heartbreaker to the Devils. Despite a late comeback, scoring 2 goals in the final 5 minutes of regulation to force overtime, and they lost in overtime. So that sucks. But the special moment happened last night. Now, Lil Toots, my daughter, she's been dealing with this cough. And it's funny, like kids have a cough for like a month. Like, still how does that take them to the doctor? Be like, oh yeah, well this is what happens. They cough a lot. Like what? Okay, where's the medicine coming? You know. Anyway, so she slept for like 45 minutes, and she was in bed by like 7:45. You know. And like 45 minutes later, she comes downstairs and she just looks like she's having a rough night, you know. So I'm like, all right, you lay down here, lay on the sofa, and you can watch this game with me. So she's like, I want to watch whatever, some show on YouTube, not mine. And and I'm like, no, you got to go to sleep. So just lay here, and hopefully, I'm hoping that the football game will bore her and she'll fall asleep. That doesn't end up happening. She actually ends up starting to pay attention. Now she's 4 years old, and she starts paying attention. And she was just like, at one point, about 10, 15 minutes into her laying next to me and not making a sound. I think she's just trying to fall asleep. She goes, "Daddy, who do we like here?" And I thought, I was blown away by even the question. I liked that she was paying attention. I'm trying very hard. I was very much rewarded by not forcing, Frank Sinatra and Rat Pack music into my daughter's ears in the early stages of her life here. However, I have listened to it. She's listened to it a little bit. And then one day, what do you know? We were on the way to school, and she goes, "Daddy, I want to listen to Frank Sinatra." And I was like, "Oh, my God." Couldn't get my phone out fast enough and started playing Frank Sinatra. I think I told you that story before, but anyway. So I'm like, "Oh, my God, here we go. This is the big moment. This is the big moment." Now, unfortunately, the Eagles were not playing. And now I'm seeing that Dallas star on the helmet, and I'm going, "Oh, no. Hopefully that thing doesn't happen where kids see the star and they fall in love with it forever." And she goes, "Daddy, what do we think about the guys in white?" And the Cowboys were in their white jerseys last night. I said, "Oh, no, we don't like them. No, we don't like them." And she's like, "Oh, okay. What about the guys in blue?" I was like, "Oh, my God, no. Blue is her favorite color. She's going to be a Seahawks fan for the rest of her life." And I'm like, "Oh, they're okay, but we like the Eagles. In this house, we like the Eagles." And she's like, "Why, Daddy?" I'm like, "Well, because we were in the Philadelphia area, and we I can't say Philly anymore because we don't live in the city. We moved out of the beautiful Fairmount section of Philadelphia. But I was like, that's our team for our region, and that's who we root for. That's why we like him." She goes, "Well, why don't we like the other guys?" And I felt like this was a good way to break it down to a child. I said, "Sweetheart, odds are if those people are happy, we're sad, and if we're happy, they're probably sad, and we like when they're sad." Like I never thought about the conversation prior to this moment, but I like how it came out. And she goes, "Oh, okay." And then something would happen that looked like a guy dropped the ball, and I guess you could tell. Anyone could tell that's not a good thing. She's like, "Yeah," I'm like, "All right, this is great. Let it begin. Let it begin." And then I did ask her, "Sweetheart, what sport are you watching?" And she goes, "Baseball." I go, "Okay, we still have some work to do. Here." But I feel like it was a good moment. I feel like it was a good father-daughter moment in last night's game. But still, not the ending I wanted with the Cowboys ended up winning that football game. Again, all the credit in the world to Dak Prescott and what he's been able to do. They just were able to barely beat a team that's barely over 500. So congratulations. Big day in Dallas. Now they have a long layoff before they face the Eagles in a primetime matchup Sunday night. And speaking of primetime matchups, before we get into this matchup here with the Eagles and the 49ers, Seahawks and Eagles flexed to Monday Night Football on December 18th. So that game will yet again be another primetime game for the Philadelphia Eagles. Another national audience game for the Philadelphia Eagles. I feel bad for our friends over there at Philly Sports Trips. I saw their CEO. It's like, we got you guys. He released the video. We got you guys. Don't worry, we got you. Love it. Scrambling to make sure people are happy. I love that. Love that type of hustle. Here's what we're looking at for the injury report for your Eagles taking on the 49ers Sunday at 4:25. Did not participate. Grant Calcaterra, Fletcher Cox with a groin injury. Zach Cunningham still dealing with that hamstring. Justin Evans still dealing with the knee. Dallas Goedert did not practice. Not surprised, but a little disappointed. Was hoping that Dallas Goedert would be able to at least get out there a wee bit and run around. Limited, A.J. Brown with his thigh injury. Jordan Davis, hamstring. Julio Jones with a knee injury. Those fellas were limited. And then full participants, this is what I like to see. Lane Johnson, Devontae Smith, DeAndre Swift, and Milton Williams. Milton Williams is huge here because if Fletcher Cox being not practicing due to a groin injury, you need to have Milton Williams out of concussion protocol. If he's a full participant in practice, he's out of concussion protocol. So he's running around out there. Lane Johnson, that right decision to keep him out of the game last week against the Buffalo Bills to make sure that he'd be ready to go for this game. And sure enough, he is. It looks that way with Devontae Smith and DeAndre Swift, making things look good with the knee and ankle injury, respectively. Fletcher Cox possibly not being able to play in this game. You need Milton Williams up. I'm going to cut to the chase here when it comes to 5 things that I'm looking at in this football game. I am looking at without question, as I've been saying all week, this is trash talk week. This is a prove it week for both teams. Let's go back, and we'll go into that in a second, but mostly just the trash talk. You've played a lot of snaps. You've played a hell of a lot of football in terrible conditions. All right. This is a game that the Eagles are going to need that extra added motivation. We'll let you hear from Sean Desai in a second about what this team has gone through this week in order to make sure that they're prepared after 92 snaps against the Buffalo Bills, and also playing another rain-soaked game on the short week, playing Monday night in Kansas City. What this team has done to make sure that they're prepared, that their bodies are ready to go, going up against this San Francisco 49ers offense and how versatile their offense is. But I do believe in that extra added motivation that I think every athlete needs. Because guess what? Everybody's working out. Everybody's trying to stay conditioned. Everyone's going through a long season. Everyone's got the bumps and bruises and all that stuff. Everyone's got fatigue. Everyone's got to be worried about their stamina. But every once in a while, a game comes around or a game comes along like this San Francisco 49ers game where you know they don't like you, you don't like them. And the unique thing about it is that it is not a division rivalry where you know you're going to see them at least twice a year. This is few and far between that you get to see the San Francisco 49ers. It's few and far between that you get to host the San Francisco 49ers. So if you're going to make them feel something before the playoffs, this is the time to make them feel something. It's not, all right, we'll get them in a couple of weeks when we see him again. No. Yeah, sure, you might see him in the playoffs again. But when you do that, you want to make sure that you're home. You haven't seen this team since that NFC Championship game last year at Lincoln Financial Field, as we all know. So this is the game where the trash talk, I think, is going to matter, and it's going to fuel motivation. I love the idea that after the game against the Bills, Hassan Reddick's in his locker, and he's talking about a lot of boo-hoo. There's a lot of boo-hoo after that last game. It's time for us to get ours. And then I also love the fact that this week at his locker at the NovaCare Complex, not Lincoln Financial Field, he's talking about the same thing. Keep that energy, please, going into this game. First thing, little chippiness. Little chippiness is going to bleed onto the field. You know what that just means to me? Extra added energy. Extra added energy. The next thing, I'm going to be looking at this game. It comes down to your defensive backs. A lot of it is going to come down to your defensive backs. We know the deal with Brock Purdy this year. He is leading the NFL in passer rating. 112.3 is where he's at. He only has 6 interceptions. He has 19 touchdowns. He is not extremely elusive, but he's elusive. He's not Jalen Hurts, but he's elusive in the pocket. He can roll to the outside of the pocket. He can bootleg. Play action is going to be a big thing with what they can do, and he can use that to his advantage. His attempts aren't ginormous in the NFL, but when he throws, as I was saying yesterday with Bill Colarulo on the Philly Sports Power Hour, when he throws to kill. And that's what he's going to try to do against this Eagles secondary. Now, it looks like maybe this Eagles secondary has started to crack the code a little bit as far as getting on the same page between James Bradbury, Darius Slade, Bradley Roby, Kevin Byard, and obviously Reed Blankenship. Reed Blankenship had one really bad play against Buffalo Bills where he missed Josh Allen on that touchdown run. And that's an unfortunate thing, but it's just what happened. But watching this secondary come together in this particular game, especially when we're going to be down linebackers, Nicholas Morrow is going to be in there. We showed you already Zach Cunningham is hurt. It's going to be real touch and go with this linebacker position. So your secondary is going to be even more highlighted. Ben Von Sumeren has been elevated off the practice squad again. That's where we're at, folks. Christian Ellis and Ben Van Sumeren. There you go. That's where we're at. So I'm going to be looking at that secondary more so than any other game this season. And let's face it, on the other side of the football, you have the versatility, as we know, of Deebo Samuel. You have the versatility of Christian McCaffrey. And we know you have a pretty damn good wide receiver in Brandon Ayuk. So that's those guys right there against Brock Purdy. With Brock Purdy against this Eagles secondary is going to be a huge focus in this game. The tight end matchup is number 3. George Kittle, 3rd in the NFL in receiving yards for a tight end. He is going up against an Eagles defense that is the worst still in the NFL at defending tight ends. 125.2 passer rating when tight ends are targeted. And now you got George Kittle to worry about. Dalton Kincaid didn't tee off on this Eagles defense at all. The Eagles have been pretty good at certain points this year against tight ends, but for the vast majority of it, they have been god-awful. Again, worst in the NFL, now going up against one of the best tight ends in football in George Kittle. Not great. Not great. Even if they're all on lockdown, and if you're going to have Kevin Byard down on George Kittle, then great. Hopefully that's what helps us turn the tides for this Eagles defense, matching up against tight ends. But everywhere else, it's got to be on point because you can't shift a linebacker over to cover him. That ain't happening. So it's another guy coming out of your maybe your safety position to cover somebody at the line of scrimmage starting off, not just being deepest man in the field or anything like that. You got to play in the box a hell of a lot. And that's what Kevin Byard is going to have to do in this game. So tight end coverage is going to be a huge thing in this game. I'm gonna jump to this, and it really just goes down to overall quarterback play. When I look at Jalen Hurts, I look at this game for him as being a huge statement game to the rest of the league. I mean, look, you could say he's already the front runner for the MVP. Betting odds have him as the front runner for the MVP, and that's great, and I love it. But I think a lot of pundits around the National Football League, when you turn on ESPN, you turn on Fox Sports, you scroll through your social media feeds, I think what a lot of people are looking at right now is the fact that passer rating is nowhere near the neighborhood that it should be for a guy like Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy and all that. Brock Purdy, as I mentioned earlier, leads the league in passer rating. Jalen Hurts is third in the NFL overall in rushing touchdowns. That's not supposed to be a thing for quarterbacks, but he makes it a thing, and yes, it's in large part to the tush push, but you know what? That most recent rushing touchdown had nothing to do with the tush push or brotherly shove. It had to do with the quarterback draw and him making a play and Jason Kelce holding his block and making sure that his quarterback was able to spring free to get to that end zone. That was an 11-yard touchdown run. And nothing to do with the tush push. But that's the ability that Jalen Hurts has. And one of the encouraging signs from Jalen Hurts coming out of the Buffalo Bills game is his athleticism. He looked faster than he had looked in quite some time. Faster than he has looked in quite some time. And he looked a hell of a lot less tentative. So I'll say a lot more confident when he decided to run the football. And that's the type of player that we saw more so last year. And you talk about yards. He's not leading the NFL. He's not leading quarterbacks. I think Lamar Jackson is still leading quarterbacks in rushing yards. But to be third in the NFL overall, not just quarterbacks, but third in the NFL in rushing touchdowns is pretty special. And then 18 touchdowns to go on top of that through the air, that's also pretty special. This could be a great statement game for what Jalen Hurts could do against that defense. And as we know, Jalen Hurts has a high opinion of that defense.
They're really good defense. They have great players at every position on that D-line, and, I mean, very elite players, so, we have to be ready for that challenge.
Really good players on the defense. And they do. They absolutely do. Which brings me to the number one thing that I'm going to be looking at in this game. Defensive line. Eagles and 49ers defensive line. That's what I'm going to be looking at this. Eagles, of course, did not do a good job of bringing down Josh Allen. Was not exactly a great thing. I know he's a very athletic quarterback. Very tough to bring him down. Eagles weren't really able to do that in this game against the Bills. They're going to have to be able to do that in this game against San Francisco 49ers. They're going to have to bring down Brock Purdy. Go back to Milton Williams, at least being healthy enough and out of concussion protocol to play in this game. That's a huge thing. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis are going to have to be in the middle of that line of scrimmage, and they're going to have to be blowing up that San Francisco 49ers offensive line. It is going to be a huge deal in this game because you're going to have to have push up front. Granted, the linebackers that are going to be playing behind you. If you're Jalen Carter, if you're Jordan Davis, if you're Milton Williams, and if you're on the edge like Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, or Hassan Reddick, you got to know that the guys playing behind you aren't exactly number one picks. So your defensive line is going to have to get into this football game and get involved early. And I'll use this expression, force mistakes. Talk about a quarterback that's only got 6 interceptions on the season. It's kind of hard to force him into mistakes. If only you had a talented enough defensive line to get in his face and provide that pressure. Fortunately, they have a pretty damn good defensive line here, even without Fletcher Cox. Still crossing my fingers that he's able to play in this game. Hopefully, he's at least moved up to limited participant in today's practice. But it's the number one thing. On the other side of the football, you have Javon Hargrave. You have Chase Young. You have Nick Bosa. So that's, again, why it's important to have Lane Johnson up. Jordan Mailata has allowed the most sacks on the Eagles' offensive line this season with 6. You hope that he is ready to go in this game. I saw some people talking about Chase Young. Like, that's a big thing there. Chase Young has not fared well against the Eagles this season. He's got 2 games against them. He's got 1 sack. I think he's got 4 quarterback hits. Like that, that's not great. That's not something to scare me. What scares me more? That's what scares me more about that, or what has my attention more so about that, is him in the film room, more so than what he can do on the football field. Hey guys, seen him twice this year already. Here's what you gotta do. This is what this guy's doing. That guy's doing this, that, and the other. Beep, pop, pop, boop, pop. Javon Hargrave, obviously being on that defensive line, aside from the skill that we all know he still has, the other thing that catches my attention about that is that it seems like whenever a former Eagle plays the Eagles, they got the goods, man. They got the goods. So I'm glad that they're different defensive coordinators and offensive coordinators. I'm glad it's different coordinators here in Philadelphia now. But what's burned in my brain are a couple former Eagles that have just been out there on their sideline with their new team being like, there's going to be a run to the right. It's going to be a run to the left. Watch the play action. Fake bubble screen. Like, it was more so, the years of Chip Kelly and Andy Reid. Don't remember it too much in the Doug Peterson era. But whenever they face a former Eagle, I just feel like they got the goods, man. And you can say that about every single team. But it feels like they got the goods. But more so than anything, the number one thing in this game is going to be the trenches. Like I said, I think mostly it's going to be about the defensive lines trying to apply pressure and force mistakes. And that, of course, in turn means that you're going up against the Eagles' offensive line with Lane Johnson back in the mix. And you're hoping that you can take out a team like the Buffalo Bills and have the amount of success that you did for a guy like Jack Driscoll, and then throw a guy like Lane Johnson back on the right tackle position, and then hopefully you have even more success at defending the trenches and defending your quarterback overall. That's what I'm really looking at in this game. Those are the biggest things that I think are going to factor in this. There's outside things. You can always look at the turnovers. That's the extra. Turnovers for me are always a big deal. In particular, last week against the Bills, that was going to be a big deal. If you could somehow force the San Francisco 49ers into turnovers, which is it's not a thing this year, then obviously you're going to have a great chance to win this game. But even going back to last week, you turned the football over twice to the Buffalo Bills 1, and the Bills cashed in for 14 points on your turnovers, and you still managed to win that game. So when you do focus on turnovers, I almost look at it as people say, like at the beginning of the season, well, if they stay healthy, yeah, no kidding if they stay healthy. Well, if he stays healthy, you can be MVP. Yeah, no kidding if he stays healthy, you can be MVP. That kind of. But yeah, no kidding, if you win the turnover battle, you're going to have a much better chance to win. I'll be eagerly awaiting the Eagles to win that turnover battle in order to make sure they come away with this victory. One thing, I'll go back to this. It's the snap count. Again, they're coming off a game where they had 92 plays against the Buffalo Bills. And this is going to be, I think, a huge factor in this game, the amount of snaps they have seen. Sean Desai talked to the media yesterday, or talked to the media earlier in the week about what they've been doing this week to make sure that they are ready to go despite the number of snaps that their defense has seen.
I think Brock's playing at a really high level. How unique is it? Well, I think every head coach that I've been a part of has a kind of way that they manage their Wednesdays and Thursdays differently. And so I think here we do it tremendously. I think that it's been proven of how we've done it, and it's been a certain model that we abide by. And I think it's really good because it helps prepare our players and helps keep our players fresh for Sunday. And we still have a high demanding walkthrough where it's really mentally taxing. We want to challenge these guys and get a certain level of speed up until the snap that we want to be able to play with. And I think our guys players and coaches do a great job of buying into that.
He went on to talk about how they talk to the strength and conditioning coach, and they make sure they have their meetings about what's going to be best for that week. I think professional athletes, fresh out of college or not, they know how to take care of their bodies. Guys like Jalen Carter, guys like Jordan Davis have done a phenomenal job with their conditioning. Jordan Davis from last year to this year. Jalen Carter from the combine to the pro day to being a pro. Leaps and bounds better than what we have seen. And what was leaps and bounds better than what has been reported about Jalen Carter. It doesn't hurt to go back to the first thing I mentioned, and that is the idea that this team is going to be extra motivated for this game. Every team, that's why bulletin board material's a real thing. If you're coming off a 74-snap game against the Chiefs on Monday night for the quick turnaround of Sunday to then play 92 snaps defensively, yeah, I would say that you're going to need as much motivation, as much fuel in the tank as possible. So I don't know if that means more Whirlpools. I don't know if that means more boxes of Wheaties. I don't know if that means more Red Bull and espresso in the Eagles locker room. What I know, what factors into it the most is knowing that team across the way from you, they want to beat your ass because they think you got lucky last year. To talk about the extracurriculars, I went back and I watched some of that game again last year, that NFC Championship game. And you definitely saw the chippiness. You saw some pushing and shoving in that game. The San Francisco 49ers look at this Eagles team since that game and they go, they're just lucky. They're not good. They're certainly not better than us. They're lucky. Brock Purdy threw 4 passes in that game. Brock Purdy suffered a ligament tear, left the game in the second quarter. Josh Johnson came in, suffered a concussion, and then he had to leave the game. And then because they had nobody else, they had to bring Brock Purdy back in. Who, by the way, completed 1 pass with that torn ligament in his elbow. Christian McCaffrey even threw a pass in that game. The 49ers look at this Eagles team as if they're lucky. Yeah, they might acknowledge that they're good, but they're not better than the 49ers. At least that's what the 49ers are thinking going into this game. If you're the Eagles, if you're any athlete, I mean, any line of work, I mean, you don't want to be, sometimes, I want to be lucky. I'd rather be lucky than good. Sometimes I'd rather be lucky than good. No, I think you'd rather be better than your opponent and have your opponent know it. Whether they want to admit it or not, in the back of their head, they're better. If you're the Eagles, you're going into this game looking at an opponent that does not respect you. That's the bottom line. I always go back to this footage that the NFL Films put together years ago, and it was titled Respect. And they went around with their cameras, and they did the great job that they always do at NFL Films, and they captured coaches. Every single coach was saying the same thing. It was some derivative of the word respect. They were implementing the word or words like respect into every single practice. You know what's the problem over there with that team? That team doesn't respect you. You know, you're going to earn some respect in this league. You know what this is all about? This is about gaining respect from your peers. And right now, those guys, they don't respect you. You think they're over there right now talking about how great you are? No, they're over there to lack of respect. The whole thing was about respect. And the players they were interviewing and the coaches they were interviewing were all like, yeah, if you can make a grown man, a professional athlete, believe that somebody else doesn't respect them, then you can go over there and you can beat their ass. Like, that's the best way to increase momentum, increase adrenaline and grab attention and increase focus for any game. They don't respect you. And then, of course, you would cut the press conferences, and it's all the players talking about how great the other players are. Like Jalen Hurts, I just played it for you right there. They're really, 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 really good. There's no walking it back. And I think that's why Deebo Samuel did not walk back his comments about calling James Bradberry trash. And I wish James Bradberry would have had a better comeback than, I wish you didn't call me trash. Well, whatever. I don't care. Go let your play do the talking. And it's another thing that James Bradberry went on to say, that this is a team, or in this particular game, he's just got to control what he can control, which is his own play. And hopefully this is a game where he steps up and makes another huge play. You know, he had 5 passes defended in this game against the Bills. That's bonkers. But it's a huge thing going into this game to make sure that this team has that extra added motivation. You can't take back what you've been saying over the last year since that NFC Championship game, and all of a sudden make you believe, make the Eagles believe that, oh, no, but we respect you. No, you don't. You don't respect the win. If you think your opponent got lucky, then you don't respect them. Very simple. So in the lane of trying to prove whether or not they actually respect you, they don't. Simple as that. One thing, I actually hit the wrong thing initially, then I corrected it, but we talked about Brock Purdy, how good he is. Earlier in the week, Sean Desai talked about Brock Purdy and what he brings to the table.
How unique is it? Well, I think every head coach that I've been a part of has a kind of way that they manage their Wednesdays and Thursdays differently. And so I think, I think Brock's playing at a really high level. He's really efficient with the ball, getting the ball out in rhythm and timing to his receivers. I think they do a good job mixing their run and pass, and Brock really runs that offense really well, and he's feeling really comfortable doing that. He's slippery. He's a little bit quick and can be evasive in the pocket, and he keeps his eyes upfield and is able to target some explosives downfield that way too. So we'll have to have a good plan of corralling him, and then getting tight to some of these routes so we can contest some of these throws that they throw.
Yep, it's a lot to deal with. The thing that really jumps out to me, if I had to sum up the 49ers offense in one word, it would be versatility. Now, that doesn't just mean they have these different, they can beat you on the ground, they can beat you in the air. I'm not talking about that. They can beat you with a quarterback, take it off for a first down, whatever. That's not it. It's just that everyone they have on their versatile offense is versatile. Everyone on their versatile offense is versatile. The offense as a whole, run, pass, they can beat you. The individual players that can do that can do both things. Whether it's Brock Purdy being able to scramble a little bit, buy time behind the pocket, and not necessarily run for 20 yards, 30 yards, whatever. He can do it. He just doesn't do it often. Christian McCaffrey lining up in the slot. Christian McCaffrey running the ball out of the backfield. Christian McCaffrey catching the ball out of the backfield. We all know Christian McCaffrey is one of the most versatile players in the history of the NFL. Going on. Moving on. Deebo Samuel literally made up a new position. I'm a wide back. I'm sorry, you what? I'm a wide back. I'm sorry, come again? I'm a wide back. What? What does that do? Well, pretty much everything. Okay, interesting. It's an extremely versatile. And then George Kittle has gotten better as a blocking tight end. He's still nowhere near Dallas Goedert, but he has gotten better over the years. And besides, his catching ability is still just top-notch. A little bit of blocking. You can at least say now a little bit of blocking. But catching the football is obviously the thing he does far and away better than most NFL tight ends, the vast majority of them. But still versatile enough. Brandon Ayuk, yeah, he can get the slant route at 10 yards, take it 60, that whole thing. And then he can also just run go routes all the live long day. He's the guy that's more of the one-trick pony, if you will, if you're comparing wide receivers and running backs that could do the other's job like McCaffrey and Samuel. Brandon Ayuk still does his job very, very well. Not exactly the guy that I'd put with most versatile while I'm talking about the topic of versatility, but still pretty damn good at the job that he does. So it's something that you really got to be ready for if you're Sean Desai going up against a very versatile offense that has very versatile players. Schematically versatile. Individually versatile. That's how I sum up this San Francisco 49ers offense. When it comes to the Eagles, a couple of things I just want to see from them in this game. Obviously, we mentioned the turnover battle. I mentioned Jalen Hurts and his own versatility. When I look at this game with the Eagles, and what I really want them to focus on is just being able to apply pressure. And that's where it comes back down to the defensive line. This is a team that has kind of been off the mark sack-wise over the last two games. They haven't done a great job, of being able to get into the backfield. Yes, there's been quarterback pressures, and that's good. But in terms of finishing the play and forcing mistakes at the same time, that's something that's still been evasive for the Eagles on the defensive front. Secondary-wise, Bradley Roby obviously made a big play against Kansas City Chiefs, punching that ball loose. Travis Kelce, Kevin Byard made a big play, obviously taking that ball away in the end zone with the interception against Patrick Mahomes. James Bradbury stepped up and made a great play to get that well-timed Josh Allen interception All that's great. But to see them get more opportunities to get in that backfield would be even better in this game. I think that's going to be a huge deciding factor for the Eagles themselves and what I want to see from them. If I'm breaking out pom-poms, my most optimistic way to look at this game is that every single game this season has come down to the Eagles making less mistakes than the other team. The Eagles will make their fair share of mistakes. Mostly they'll be in the first half. It was only the Jets game, go figure, the one they lost, where they just made mistakes throughout the game. And yes, Jalen Hurts made a lot of those mistakes. Dallas Goedert made a mistake not being able to corral the ball that was put on his hip by Jalen Hurts. Yes, it was a little bit behind him, sure. Jalen, I'm sure, would want that throw back, but not to get into the nitty-gritty of the specifics of each one. But when they don't make mistakes in the second half, that's where they win football games. If they allow the other team to out-mistake them, they win. And they capitalize on those opportunities. And every NFL team is presented with opportunities. It's a matter of whether or not you can cash in on them. The Eagles have done a great job of cashing in at a great rate on their opportunities. So for this game, I would love if I could pick the pom-poms up for a second. I could see a game where the Eagles are the more motivated team with the better quarterback, just pulling out a win. I could absolutely see a comfortable win happening on Sunday. The Eagles are the home team. They're home underdogs, which is bonkers. At 10-1, hosting a San Francisco Giants team that just 3 games ago lost 3 in a row before they just won 3 in a row. It is insane to me that that's the way that it is shaken out, but that's where we are. 2.5 points last I looked. Eagles are underdogs. But I can totally see the Eagles gearing up for this game more than they have all season long. The Chiefs game, I think a lot of it was hype going into it, outside noise more than anything. I know Jordan Mailata said it was personal, and you know what? If you lose a game in the biggest game of your career, you lose the biggest game of your career to a team, you face them again next time, you bet your ass it's personal. But this time around, you're facing a team that you could crush their hopes and dreams. Like for someone to really believe, a team to really believe that you're just lucky. You're not better, you're just lucky. That's a huge insult. That does make it personal. To beat them handily, and the Eagles have a huge motivating factor to do that. The Cowboys won, the 49ers win. Now all of a sudden your playoff hopes as far as being the number 1 seed in the first round bye, now all that's on the ropes as the season goes on, and you still got a game against the Cowboys left. You still got a game in Seattle now, Monday night, prime time, which means you're going to have another short week coming around the other side of it. There's a lot here on the table for the Eagles. If you can beat the 49ers and do it handily in a way where they just can't deny that you're just better than them, it's like you crush their spirits, you crush their soul. That's what I want. Soul crushing defeat. I could see it happening. However, I don't think it happens. My official prediction for this game is the Eagles do win this game, and the Eagles win this game by a score of 27-24. I hate to fall in line with how most other people are looking at this game, which is the Eagles come away with the win, but it ain't comfortable. It's a knockout, drag-out fight. I so bad want to say that the Eagles have been the elite of the elite all season long. That's exactly what their record says they are. There are really good teams in the NFL. They're better at 10-1. They have gone up against opponents like the Dolphins. They've gone up against opponents like the Chiefs and the Cowboys, and they've come out on top. This is the game where they're supposed to prove that they are better than that. They are the best of the best. And I would love to say 31-10, 45-17. Like, I would love that kind of score. That's what I'm rooting for. It's not what I'm expecting. It's not what I'm betting on. I think the Eagles win. I think the Eagles are a fun bet on the money line alone. And I got a 27-24. Eagles win it. Unfortunately, it's not going to be comfortable. I think it is going to be a knockout, drag-out fight. And we've been uncomfortable all season long watching these games, especially in the first half. It's going to continue on Sunday at 4:25 in South Philadelphia. Before I go any further with the Eagles, played the cuts for you there. think I had one more thing on not the Eagles and the 49ers, but one more thing on the Eagles. Zach Ertz now available on waivers. Yes, I would. Absolutely, I would. Zach Ertz asked for his release. I guess he couldn't stand Gannon either. Asked for his release. The 49ers gave it to him. He can go out there. Teams can claim him. I would love if the Eagles picked him up. I would love if he came down to the Eagles. I would love that if he came back here in Philadelphia. Not just because you root for the guy, because the guy's a friend of the show, but the guy can still catch the football. The guy can still get open, and he can still help you in the red zone. Now, the thing is, the red zone ain't that big a deal anymore. The Eagles have fixed that problem. One of the other things that we're not hearing too much about from Brian Johnson that has helped his case for Team Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. But the Eagles have done a phenomenal job over the last 4 weeks in the red zone. He can still make you even better. Third down conversions can still make you better. Third and long conversions can still make you even better. It's not just a cute, adorable reunion and a stroll down memory lane with Zach Ertz, guy who only scored the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl. But he can help you win now. He can help you win now. You're not going to get back a guy that set a record for receiving receptions in a season and all that stuff. That's not going to happen for the Eagles. But you know what it is going to be? It's going to be a guy who can still help you win now. Would you rather have Jack Stahl go out there, Grant Calcaterra go out there, or would you rather have Zach Ertz go out there? It's going to cost you nothing. I'd rather have Zach Ertz. Now moving on from the Eagles. Kelly Oubre was a participant at Sixers practice, full participant. It was light, but he was a full participant at Sixers practice yesterday. Still not determined as to when he will, in fact, be back in the Sixers lineup after, I hate saying this, but alleged car accident. He says he got hit by a car, whatever. Supposed to be back in the lineup in the very near future. Joel Embiid listed as questionable for tonight's game against the Boston Celtics, 7:30 tip-off in Boston, their first game of the season in Boston. I don't believe that he ever was sick. I think everything where he misses a game is load management. I'm going to stick with that theory. I think he plays tonight. I think he plays well tonight. And Sixers come out of Boston with a win. I think they bounce back out of Boston with a win tonight. Tyrese Maxey and the Sixers, without Joel Embiid in New Orleans, really struggled in that game against the Pelicans. So hopefully a nice little bounce back win tonight against the Boston Celtics. Flyers last night, good God. Oh, my goodness. They're down 3-1, 5 minutes to go in the third period. They get a goal. They're within a goal. Lawton, I didn't see who tipped it in front, but Lawton got the slap shot from the point, put it on net, went in. Tie game, force overtime, Devils win. Womp, womp. That sucks. So that's what you got. Let me tell you right now about the great people at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. And all they have to offer at MyBookie.ag. Well, what do they have to offer? Well, I'll tell you what they have to offer. How about $1,000 redeemable cash bonus when you use promo code Farzy? So put yourself in the running with that at MyBookie.ag when you use promo code Farzy at MyBookie.ag. And here's a great thing. You don't just have to be a sports whiz. You don't have to be a sports whiz at all, as a matter of fact, when it comes to MyBookie.ag, because it allows you to bet on politics. It allows you to bet on TV shows, not just sports. Also, great blackjack tournaments as well at MyBookie.ag. So take advantage of all they have to offer when you use promo code Farzy. That's promo code Farzy at MyBookie.ag. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's PHLSportsNation.com. How about Game Time app, GameTime.co. They're on Twitter at Game Time. How about that? They're on Instagram, Game Time app. They're on TikTok, Game Time. They own Game Time, ladies and gentlemen. GameTime.co. Check out all they got to offer as well. And how about this? When you are buying a ticket online, anywhere, trust is the biggest factor. Trust. You want to trust that you got the right ticket on your phone at a great seat. So here's what it allows you to do. One, you know you can trust the Game Time app. Two, when you go, before you even buy the ticket, you can see what the view is from the seat. That is huge. You don't want to be sitting behind that pillar. You don't want the bad angle. You don't want to be tucked away in a corner. You don't want to be behind the stage. Games, events, it's all for the Game Time app GameTime.co. Download the GameTime app to your phone and make sure you take advantage of all they're offering right now. And how about this? Download the app, create an account, use promo code Farzy. That's promo code Farzy, and you get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, you can create an account. You can redeem it with the code Farzy, F-A-R-Z-Y, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed with the Game Time app. GameTime.co, Game Time app on your phone. Download it right now. Let the games begin with Game Time. How about the great people at Sky Motorcars? SkyMotorcars.com. Enjoy all they have to offer at SkyMotorcars.com. Let's get into the chat check and start it over on the Farzy Show page and see what's going on with all you wonderful people over here on the Farzy Show page as I mute my monitor. There we go. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, April. Good morning, Wine Niners Wine. Good morning, all Winer Week in full swing. Yeah, here we go. All night. Made me hate the Cowboys even more. Sean Kilrain, what's up? Jason A, good morning, folks. T-Bro, we've learned during Winers Week. Their fans talk smack. However, they are soft. I think I gave you the right cadence there, T-Bro. They're really butthurt about the NFC Championship game. All these are true. And they like to go to the bathroom on their own streets. Sean Kilrain, I see the defensive front eating. And I want to see Nolan Smith make a big play for it. Nolan Smith's a great X factor, Sean Kilrain. I like that a lot. I'd love to see Nolan Smith out there and make himself a big play. A huge play. Let's make that happen. Sean Cody, I hope Desai has a good plan since... Yeah, Sean Kilrain. He actually played the 40 Winers 3 times, including the playoffs. None of them went well. I believe they were 0-3. So yeah. I hope the same thing. There's familiarity with Sean Desai in this Kyle Shanahan matchup, you know. And he wasn't the defensive coordinator. So maybe this time around, now being the defensive coordinator, it helps the 49ers. Or excuse me, it helps the Eagles beat the 49ers. But yeah, faced them 3 times, including the playoffs last year. Mihai Sanchez, fly Eagles fly. At least Brock Purdy ain't Josh Allen. Have a great weekend, everybody. I love the mic drop there from Mihai. Appreciate it. What else we got, Sean? Fly Eagles fly. At least Brock ain't Josh Allen. Yeah. Sean Kilrain, win 34-24. Go Birds. Reddick does it again. Slim Reaper does it again for my star of the game. All right. I like a star of the game. Ooh, wait a minute. Oh, boy. Over here on the Jacob Media channel. Dank, I watched a couple drives. I'm not interested in the Cowboys that much. Okay. Jack Jenkins. I'm with you, Dank. Okay. Daniel, what's up? Good morning. I didn't watch the crap either. Can't even watch the Cowpunks. That's funny. Good morning, Farzy. Good morning, Jack. Oh, Niners all damn day. Niner football. God, are the Niners fans going to concede? Like, after when it's all said and done, are the Niners fans just going to concede the point and say, you know what? Sorry about the last year. Sorry about everything we said since the NFC Championship game. You guys are great. We're not very good. You're very talented. I'm a hack. Like, are you like, is that the concession? Is that going to happen? Is it going to be like a political race where the Niners fans are calling people or commenting on the board? You know what? I concede. You guys are great. I hope you do a great job, and you really gave it to us today. You know, that kind of thing. Because I'm rooting for that. I'm rooting for that. Niners all damn day. Niner football. All right. Dynamic Prodigy. Short week for the Birds. 10 days of rest for the Niners. This is true. Congratulations on, math. Niners all damn day. We in Farzy's head. The Eagles are playing you guys this week. We're not. It's reversed. You guys are already in the rearview mirror. It's not a thing. The week you play the Eagles play you, that's a thing. But don't. That's a reach. That's weak. That's weak. Niners all damn day. That's weak. Yeah. Blah. I'm over all of it at this point. Okay. Somebody gonna. Oh Jesus, Jack. Somebody go to the hospital this Sunday. Yeah. Mandalorian. I'm so sick of the national media pooping. Edited. Pooping on the Eagles. San Francisco has to beat one team. One with a top 15 offense. Eagles would be 3 teams with 8 wins. Laugh out loud. It's starting to become annoying. Talk is cheap. Light them up. Let's go. I agree. Better off having Rob Ellis in there over the... Okay. Niners all damn day. That's funny. Rob Ellis will rip somebody's head off, man. Don't you doubt my man, Rob. Rob's got that dog in him, man. Rob's got that dog. A lot of stuff going on here. A lot of stuff going on there. Niners all damn day is delusional. Spending 24 hours. Yeah, Niners all damn day. Are you like, I think I've asked you this before. Are you like one of them superheroes that names his successor so that it's like Batman never dies, or like, the Phantom never dies, or the Shadow or whatever? I don't know. I'm running out of superheroes. You got to be the next guy. You got to be the next guy. Man, Mandalorian's giving it to him. Wow. Eric Wisniewski, what's up? Ertz, come home. Yes, Ertz, please come home. Dirty D. My Knicks killed it. Jalen Brunson and the rest of the big 3 from Villanova. Yeah, how about that? Niners, Andrew says, Niners win more than we do. All the poop they've been talking, and they lose it. It's going to be an embarrassment to the Niners organization. Oh, I mean, I might, the real MP, rent is due. You're damn right. Can't wait for the excuses. Like, just think about it for a second. Just put yourself in the Niners' shoes. Okay, so you're a loser. Put yourself in the Niners' shoes. You're a loser. And you've been talking all this trash all week or all year, and you've been crying. A lot of boo-hoo, to quote Hassan Reddick. And then you lose? I feel like they just take your man card. I feel like that's what happens. Like, I now own you. That's what happens. The Eagles will be the Niners' daddies. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you guys as per usual. Mandalorian, I swear, I only see him in Eagles chats. I assume that's Niners all damn day. 27-24, Eagles win this game. I wish I could give you a more optimistic score, but that's what I got for you. Jim Hyden produced the program, did a wonderful job as per usual. My name is Mark Farzetta. Hey, bonus me today. Coming up, Fox 29, 7:45. Don't miss that either. Have a great rest of your day. Jim Hyden produced the show, did a wonderful job. I'll see you guys Sunday around 2:30 for Eagles pregame with my man Seth Joyner, Bill Colarulo, ahead of Eagles 49ers. And then halftime and postgame as well. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Keep it right here on Jacob Media. For those watching Jacob Media, Birds 365 coming up. At 8 o'clock today, I'll be joining in the 9 o'clock hour to sit along with my friend Jody McDonald as well. So even bonus me today. Have a great day, everybody. See ya.